bike?
It's a long story, so it's best to start at the beginning. If you had told me in November of 2019 that I would be riding a motorcycle, I would have told you you're out of your mind. My opinions on motorcycles were the same as pretty much everyone who doesn't want to ride. It's less safer than cars, distracted driving is on the rise, yada yada yada. I'll get back to that later. So pretty much I never imagined this was going to happen. Now my cousin has a motorcycle and he's been interested in them for a while. Many times he will come home and watch videos regarding them. I want to say that watching those videos softened me to the idea, but it's not what won me over. Turns out that the church I go to is on the same street as a Harley Davidson dealer. We figured it would be an interesting way to spend some time. Let me just point out that the few times that I've been there, we were the only non-white guys there. We were probably the only guys that were under 32 now that I think about it. Anyway, back to the story. They were having a sale at the time, so they had quite a few of them lined up. We walked around for a bit and I saw something that changed my opinion dramatically. I saw one of their Sportsters that they call the Iron 883 and it was love at first sight. Until that point, I never bothered to go to Harley Davidson motorcycle and really look at it. I either saw them zoom right past me on a car or I ignored them while they were there. So it was my first time seeing one up close and actually touching it and looking at it very closely. It blew my mind seeing how low the seat was, which if you know motorcycles, you know that's not a big deal since it's common, but again, it was the first time I saw one up close, especially in comparison to my cousin's bike. It's an adventure bike, so those things have tall seats so you can stand out when you're off-roading. I took a picture of the bike since it had a cool factor to it. For the first time, images of me riding a motorcycle and the possibility of it came to mind. The next month and a half I would spend it looking up tutorials and informative videos regarding motorcycles, and I knew my mind was set. By the end of 2020, I will be on a motorcycle. I test rode my cousin's bike to get a feel for it, and it only reinforced my confidence to do it. Even when I fell on my second attempt, I wasn't dismayed. I read about a place that did the license courses, and I signed up. I wasn't nervous until the night before. It's easy to feel confident when something is still far away. After waking up at 5 in the morning, I headed to the class that started at 7. I went to bed early, plus not knowing what to expect kept me from feeling any sleep deprivation. After an hour and a half being in a classroom which I found to be difficult, seriously, we went over 175 questions in a row. I haven't been in a classroom like that in over 7 years, so my attention span, suffice it to say, was lacking. After surviving the classroom came the moment of truth. Actually riding the bike. Looking back after the class, I can say that I became a better rider because of it and I appreciate it, but at the time it was a frustrating thing to be part of it. First off, it was cold, freezing to be honest, and it utterly destroyed me. I got sick for a week because I was exposed to the cold for such a long time. It didn't make things easier when riding since I was shivering most of the time. So far the classes I rode had 100 Grom, which isn't bad for the class since it's small and easy to control. Man, I did things I didn't know I could do. Zigzag, sharp turns, sudden stops, I became one with the bike. Until I stalled. Though I had the problem that I would constantly stall the bike, which the instructor was constantly calling me out on. We were all beginners, but I hated the fact that I was stalling the most. I don't know, I just hate the feeling that I'm behind everyone else, but I'll talk about that in another video. It was especially nerve-wracking when he told me that if I don't resolve the stalling issue, I'm gonna have a hard time at the test. I arrived home about 6 o'clock and I went straight to bed. I was tired, I was sick, and my confidence had been cracked. Suffice it to say I wasn't looking forward to tomorrow, but tomorrow came and I improved a little bit. I stalled the bike less, which restored my confidence a bit, and then it was time for the test. The test was just a few of the trials that we ran the day and the day before. That didn't make it any less nerve-wracking since I was still sick and lost points if you stalled. Although I stalled twice in a row in one test, by sheer miracle I was able to pass to get my endorsement. It felt like a weight was lifted from my shoulders. But the best part is that I never have to do it again as long as I renew it.
I imagine you went straight towards the dealer after that.
Naturally, there is more to the story than that.